Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, revealing a sleek, modern office space. Hallie stepped out, her red dress swishing around her knees as she took a deep breath to calm her nerves. The reception area buzzed with activity, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, and muffled voices from behind closed doors. Hallie approached the receptionist's desk, her heels clicking against the polished concrete floor. "Hi, I'm here for an interview with Technova." The receptionist looked up with a warm smile. "Of course! You must be Hallie. Please have a seat. Someone will be out to get you shortly." Hallie nodded gratefully and settled into one of the plush chairs in the waiting area. She smoothed her dress, fidgeting with the hem. It was the first time she'd worn it for something so important. The fabric felt both comforting and strange against her skin. A door opened, and a woman with curly hair and glasses emerged. "Hallie, I'm Denise, the HR manager. Please come with me." Hallie stood, gathering her portfolio and following Denise down a hallway lined with motivational posters and abstract art. They entered a conference room where two men were already seated. "This is Marcus, our lead developer, and Raj, the project manager," Denise introduced. "Gentlemen, this is Hallie." Hallie shook hands with each of them, her grip firm despite her internal jitters. "It's great to meet you all. Thank you for considering me for this position." Marcus gestured to an empty chair. "Please, have a seat. We're excited to learn more about you and your experience." As Hallie sat down, she noticed their eyes didn't linger on her appearance or betray any hint of judgment. It was a small thing, but it helped her relax a fraction. Raj leaned forward, his elbows on the table. "So, Hallie, tell us about your most recent project. What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them?" Hallie took a deep breath, her earlier nerves fading as she delved into familiar territory. "Well, my last role was at a financial services company. We were tasked with overhauling their legacy system to improve security and user experience." As she spoke, Hallie's confidence grew. She described the intricate details of the project, her hands moving animatedly as she explained the solutions she'd developed. The interviewers leaned in, clearly engaged. Marcus nodded approvingly. "That's impressive work. How did you handle the transition from the old system to the new one?" "That was actually one of our biggest hurdles," Hallie admitted. "We had to ensure minimal downtime while migrating millions of records. I proposed a phased approach. The conversation flowed naturally, with the interviewers asking probing questions about her technical skills and problem-solving abilities. Hallie found herself relaxing into the discussion, her earlier anxieties melting away as she immersed herself in the world of code and algorithms. After about an hour of technical discussion, Denise steered the conversation in a new direction. "Hallie, we pride ourselves on fostering a diverse and inclusive workplace. Can you tell us about a time when you've contributed to a positive team dynamic?" Hallie paused, considering her answer carefully. This was the moment she'd been both dreading and hoping for, a chance to be truly authentic. "Actually," she began, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her chest, "I believe I have a unique perspective on the importance of inclusivity. As someone who's recently transitioned, I've experienced firsthand the impact that a supportive environment can have." She watched their faces carefully, but saw only attentive interest. "In my previous role, I came out to my team during a critical phase of our project. I was terrified it would disrupt our workflow or change how they saw me as a professional. Instead, their acceptance and support allowed me to bring my whole self to work. It improved our communication and ultimately made us a stronger team." Hallie took a breath, realizing she'd been speaking rapidly. I believe that when people feel truly accepted, they're able to focus fully on their work and contribute their best ideas. That's the kind of environment I always strive to create and maintain. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Raj broke into a wide smile. Thank you for sharing that, Hallie. That kind of openness and commitment to teamwork is exactly what we're looking for here. Marcus nodded in agreement. Absolutely. Your technical skills are impressive, but it's your approach to collaboration that really stands out. Denise leaned forward, her expression warm. Hallie, we have a few more candidates to interview, but I want you to know that we're very impressed. Do you have any questions for us? Hallie felt a wave of relief wash over her. She'd done it. She'd been herself, wholly and authentically, and it hadn't derailed the interview. In fact, it seemed to have strengthened her candidacy. I do have a few questions, she said, reaching for her notepad. Can you tell me more about the current project the team is working on? The next 15 minutes flew by as they discussed the company's goals and culture. By the time Hallie stood to leave, she felt a sense of excitement about the possibility of joining their team. As they walked her back to the reception area, Denise touched Hallie's arm lightly. We'll be in touch very soon. Thank you for coming in today. Hallie nodded, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to hearing from you. She stepped into the elevator, her reflection catching her eye in the mirrored wall. The woman staring back at her looked confident, professional, and at ease in her own skin. Hallie realized that for the first time in a long while, that's exactly how she felt. The next few days passed in a blur of anticipation. Hallie threw herself into personal coding projects to keep her mind occupied, but she couldn't help checking her phone every few minutes. On the third day after the interview, Hallie's phone buzzed while she was deep in a debugging session. She nearly knocked over her coffee in her haste to answer it. Hello, this is Hallie, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Hallie, this is Denise from Technova. How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? I'm excellent, especially because I have some good news for you. We'd like to offer you the position of senior software developer at Technova. Are you still interested? Hallie's heart soared. Yes, absolutely. I'm thrilled to accept. Wonderful. We're excited to have you join the team. I'll send over the official offer letter shortly. How does 2 weeks from now sound for your start date? They ironed out the details, and by the time Hallie hung up, she was grinning from ear to ear. She'd done it. She'd landed a job at a cutting-edge tech startup, and she'd done it as her true self. The next 2 weeks flew by in a whirlwind of preparation. Hallie spent her time wrapping up freelance projects, updating her wardrobe with office-appropriate attire, and researching Technova's latest innovations. On her first day, Hallie stood in front of her closet, deliberating. She ran her hand over the red dress she'd worn to the interview, smiling at the memory. Today, though, she opted for a pair of tailored black slacks and a silk blouse in a deep blue. Professional, but still uniquely her. The office was already humming with activity when she arrived. Denise met her at reception, greeting her with a warm handshake. Welcome aboard, Hallie. Let's get you settled in. As they walked through the open-plan office, Denise pointed out different areas and introduced Hallie to her new colleagues. Everyone they met offered friendly smiles and waves. They stopped at a desk near a bank of windows overlooking the city. This will be your workspace, Denise said. It has already set up your computer with all the necessary software. Do you need help logging in? Hallie shook her head, already feeling at home as she sat down at the sleek desk. I should be fine, thanks. Great. Marcus will be over in a bit to get you up to speed on the current project. In the meantime, feel free to familiarize yourself with the systems." As Denise walked away, Hallie took a deep breath, savoring the moment. She was here, in this amazing office, about to start work on cutting-edge technology, and she was doing it all as herself. She logged into her computer and began exploring the company's internal systems. Before long, a shadow fell across her desk. "Hey there, newbie," a friendly voice said. Hallie looked up to see Marcus grinning down at her. "Ready to dive in?" Hallie returned his smile, standing up. "Absolutely. Lead the way." Marcus guided her to a nearby conference room where a group of developers was already gathered. "Team, this is Hallie, our new senior dev. Hallie, meet the crew." There was a chorus of hellos as Hallie took a seat. She noticed with a mixture of amusement and gratitude that no one batted an eye at her presence.
"All right,"
Marcus said, clapping his hands together.
"Let's bring Hallie up to speed on Project Phoenix."
For the next hour, Hallie was immersed in a world of complex algorithms and innovative solutions. She asked questions, offered insights, and felt a thrill every time one of her suggestions was met with nods of approval. As the meeting wrapped up, one of the other developers, a woman with a bright purple streak in her hair, leaned over. "Hey, Hallie, a bunch of us usually grab lunch together. Want to join?" Hallie felt a warmth spread through her chest. "I'd love to, thanks." The rest of the day passed in a blur of new faces, information overload, and the exhilarating challenge of diving into a new codebase. By the time Hallie packed up to leave, she felt simultaneously exhausted and energized. As she waited for the elevator, Raj appeared beside her.
"So, how was your first day?"
Hallie couldn't help the broad smile that spread across her face. "It was fantastic. Everyone's been so welcoming, and the work is fascinating." Raj nodded, looking pleased.
"Glad to hear it. We're thrilled to have you on board, Hallie. Your unique perspective and skills are exactly what this team needs."
The elevator arrived with a soft ding, and they stepped inside together. As the doors closed, Hallie caught a glimpse of her reflection. The woman looking back at her stood tall, confident, and at peace with herself. In that moment, Hallie knew she'd found more than just a job. She'd found a place where she could be herself, where her skills were valued, and where she could make a real difference. As the elevator descended, she felt as though she was rising into a future bright with possibility, acceptance, and the freedom to be authentically, unequivocally herself. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of activity as Hallie settled into her new role. She found herself thriving in the fast-paced environment, her mind constantly engaged by the challenges of their current project. More than that, she was building genuine connections with her coworkers. One afternoon, about a month into her new job, Hallie was deep in concentration, debugging a particularly tricky piece of code. She barely noticed when someone approached her desk until they cleared their throat. "Earth to Hallow," a voice said, tinged with amusement. Hallie looked up, blinking as her eyes adjusted from the screen. It was Zoe, the developer with the purple streak in her hair. "Oh, hey Zoe, sorry, I was in the zone." Zoe grinned. "I could tell. Listen, a bunch of us are going out for drinks after work to celebrate shipping the latest update. You in?" Hallie hesitated for a moment. She'd been invited to after-work gatherings before, but had always begged off, using work as an excuse. But now, looking at Zoe's friendly face and thinking about the genuine camaraderie she'd experienced over the past month, she made a decision. You know what? That sounds great. I'd love to join. Zoe's grin widened. Awesome! We're meeting in the lobby at 6. As Zoe walked away, Hallie felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This would be her first real social outing with her new colleagues. She turned back to her code, but found her mind wandering to what the evening might bring. At 6 o'clock, Hallie shut down her computer and grabbed her bag. She'd brought a change of clothes, a flowy top in a deep green and dark jeans, and had touched up her makeup in the bathroom earlier. In the lobby, she found a group of her coworkers already gathered. Marcus spotted her first.
Hallie, glad you could make it.
They walked as a group to a nearby bar, the conversation flowing easily. Hallie found herself laughing at Raj's terrible puns and joining in a heated debate about the merits of different programming languages. At the bar, they crowded around a large table. Hallie ended up between Zoe and a developer named Chris, who she hadn't interacted with much before. As the first round of drinks arrived, Chris turned to her. So, Hallie, we haven't had a chance to chat much. How are you liking it here so far? Hallie took a sip of her gin and tonic, considering her answer. Honestly, it's been amazing. The work is challenging in all the right ways, and everyone's been so welcoming. Chris nodded. That's great to hear. I remember when I first started here, I was so nervous about fitting in. But this team, they're something special. They really are, Hallie agreed. She hesitated for a moment, then decided to take a chance. Can I tell you something? I was terrified on my first day. Not just about the job, but, well, I wasn't sure how people would react to me. Chris tilted his head, his expression open and curious. What do you mean? Hallie took a deep breath. I'm transgender. This is the first job I've had since transitioning. I was worried it might be an issue. She watched Chris's face carefully, but saw only understanding dawn in his eyes.
Oh, wow. That must have been really stressful. But you know what? It doesn't change a thing about how kick-ass you are at your job.
Hallie felt a wave of relief wash over her. Thanks, Chris. That means a lot.
Hey,
Chris said, raising his glass.
To being yourself and rocking at what you do.
Hallie clinked her glass against his, a warm feeling spreading through her chest that had nothing to do with the alcohol. As the night wore on, Hallie found herself opening up more and more. She shared stories about her transition with those who asked, always met with supportive words and genuine interest. But more than that, she was just one of the team, laughing, joking, and bonding over shared experiences in the tech world. At one point, Zoe leaned over to her. I'm really glad you came out tonight, Hallie. It's been great getting to know you better. Hallie smiled, realizing she felt truly relaxed for the first time in a long while. I'm glad I came too. Thanks for inviting me. As the night wound down and people started to head home, Hallie found herself walking to the subway with Marcus and Raj.
You know,
Marcus said, his words slightly slurred from the beers.
I gotta say, Hallie, you've been a fantastic addition to the team. Your code is top-notch, and you just fit, you know?
Raj nodded enthusiastically.
Absolutely. And the perspective you bring, it's invaluable. You see things in ways the rest of us might miss.
Hallie felt a lump form in her throat. Thank you both. That means more than you know. They reached the subway station, and Hallie waved goodbye to her colleagues. No, her friends, as they headed off in different directions. As she rode the train home, Hallie reflected on the evening. She'd taken a risk in being open about herself, and it had paid off beyond her wildest dreams. She wasn't just accepted. She was valued, both for her skills and for who she was as a person. Hallie unlocked the door to her apartment, kicking off her shoes with a contented sigh. She caught sight of herself in the hallway mirror and paused. The woman looking back at her was smiling, her eyes bright with happiness and a sense of belonging. For the first time in a long time, Hallie felt truly at home, not just in her own skin, but in her career and among her peers. She had found a place where she could be herself, wholly and authentically, and excel in her passion. As she got ready for bed, Hallie's mind was already buzzing with ideas for tomorrow's work. She couldn't wait to get back to the office, to dive into new challenges, to continue growing and learning. But more than that, she was looking forward to seeing her team, the people who had welcomed her with open arms and open minds. She had found more than just a job. She had found a community where she could thrive. Hallie drifted off to sleep that night with a smile on her face, excited for what the future held. She knew there would still be challenges ahead, both personally and professionally, but for the first time, she felt fully equipped to face them, as herself, supported by a team that valued her for exactly who she was. In the weeks and months that followed, Hallie continued to flourish at Technova. Her technical skills grew by leaps and bounds as she tackled increasingly complex projects. But more than that, her confidence blossomed. She became known not just for her coding prowess, but for her ability to bridge gaps between different teams and her knack for explaining complex concepts in accessible ways. Hallie found herself being called into meetings more often, her opinion sought after and respected. One day, about 6 months into her time at Technova, Hallie was surprised to receive an email from the CEO, asking her to stop by his office. She tried to quell the flutter of nervousness in her stomach as she knocked on his door. "Come in," a voice called. Hallie entered to find the CEO, a man named David, sitting behind a large desk. He smiled warmly as she entered. "Hallie, thank you for coming. Please have a seat." As Hallie settled into the chair across from him, David leaned forward, his expression serious but kind.
"I've been hearing great things about your work, Hallie. Your contributions to Project Phoenix have been invaluable."
"Thank you," Hallie said, feeling a flush of pride. "It's been an exciting project to work on." David nodded.
"Indeed, but it's not just your technical skills that have caught my attention. I've noticed how you've become a real leader on your team. The way you mentor junior developers, how you facilitate communication between different departments. It's impressive."
Hallie felt a mix of surprise and pleasure at his words. She hadn't realized her efforts had been noticed at such a high level.
"I have a proposition for you," David continued. "We're starting a new initiative focused on diversity and inclusion in tech. Given your unique perspective and your clear leadership abilities, I'd like you to head up this project."
Hallie's eyes widened. Wow, that's a huge responsibility."
David smiled. "It is, but I believe you're the right person for the job. You've shown not just technical excellence, but a real understanding of the importance of diverse viewpoints in innovation. What do you say?"
Hallie took a deep breath, her mind racing. This was an incredible opportunity, a chance to make a real difference, not just at Technova, but potentially in the wider tech community. "I'd be honored," she said, her voice firm with conviction.
"Thank you for this opportunity."
David stood, extending his hand.
"Excellent. I look forward to seeing what you'll accomplish."
As Hallie left the CEO's office, she felt as though she was walking on air.
This was more than she could have ever dreamed of when she first walked into Technova for her interview, nervous and unsure in her red dress. She made her way back to her desk, her mind already buzzing with ideas for the new initiative. As she sat down, she caught sight of a photo she'd recently added to her desk, a group shot from a team-building event, everyone smiling and laughing. Her gaze lingered on her own face in the photo, seeing the joy and confidence that radiated from it. Hallie turned to her computer, opening a new document to start brainstorming for her new role. As she began to type, she felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over her. She was grateful for the journey that had brought her here, for every challenge she'd overcome. Grateful for the company that had seen her potential and given her a chance. Grateful for the colleagues who had become friends, who valued her for who she was. But most of all, Hallie was grateful for the strength she'd found within herself, the courage to be authentic, to bring her whole self to work every day. That authenticity had not only been accepted, but celebrated, becoming the very thing that propelled her forward in her career. As Hallie dove into planning for her new role, she felt a sense of excitement for the future, not just her own, but for all the people she might be able to help, all the doors she might be able to open. She had found her place, her purpose, and she was ready to use her voice, her experience, and her skills to make the tech world a more inclusive place for everyone. The journey hadn't always been easy, but as Hallie looked around at the office buzzing with activity, at the faces of colleagues who had become friends, she knew one thing for certain. It had all been worth it. This was where she belonged, and she couldn't wait to see what the future would bring.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!